Hi, I was reading comments recently on one of my videos, and somebody said that they found it really difficult now that they were over 60 to feel inspired, that they kind of just run out of inspiration. And it got me thinking, what inspires me, what could inspire other people, how we could keep our inspiration going through this decade in our lives and beyond. Because life without inspiration is a little bit of a sad place, isn't it? Where do we get our motivation from if we're not inspired? I mean, I've heard before that the word inspired comes from in spirit. So whatever your religious belief, if you believe that there is more to us than this meat sack that we're walking around in, that makes a lot of sense, that we get our inspiration from something inside us, something that's not that's not flesh and blood, if you like. So I'm going to just run through a few things that inspire me, in the hope that I can get you to, if you're feeling uninspired, to look at a few more things that you could perhaps try to find some inspiration in. And I'd really love to know what you get inspired by. If you let me know in the comments, that would be great, because that would help other people as well. And watch till the end to find out my possibly most unexpected inspiration. Right, let's get going. So I'm going to squint at this card here because I've put a couple of notes on there. Art is an obvious one, isn't it? I don't very often give myself the grace to go and walk around a gallery on my own. And I'm going to do it more often, because why not? Nobody else is dictating my time. I can do what the heck I like, can't I? I don't know why I don't think of it. But I have to say, I'm not educated in art whatsoever. I have a daughter who has a master's degree from Sotheby's in art history. So I love to go with her because she tells me all the things that I wouldn't notice and helps me to see things in a very different way. And in fact, when she was 18, before she went off to university, we went to Italy together, and we did sort of our version of the grand tour that the Victorian gentlemen used to do all those years ago, where we went to Venice, to Rome, to Florence, and then down south. Oh my goodness, it was amazing. I had to hold my neck like this because I was constantly looking up at the ceilings, and God, I was getting a crick in my neck. By the end of the day, that riot of colour and just the sheer artistry of those artists filled me up and filled me with inspiration. Now, I'm no artist, but it certainly inspired me to do the things that I'm good at. So that's art. Maybe next time you feel uninspired, take yourself off to a gallery or to a museum if you love history, and just allow yourself to be immersed in it. As I say, might see you there. I'm definitely going to do that more often. I love doing these videos. They remind me of the things that I love to do. I love doing them for me as much as you. Now, podcasts. I get inspired by podcasts. Sometimes I'll come across one and it'll absorb me for a couple of hours. Stephen Bartlett's a good one, Diary of a CEO. He gives guests the room to speak, and I just find him a very good interviewer. There are a lot of podcasters as well who talk about this stage in our lives, or who talk about every subject under the sun. Whatever you're interested in, I bet you could find a podcast on it. I know my son likes to listen to Joe Rogan, and he actually likes to find podcasts that give a different point of view so that he can have his worldview challenged. Because that's how we grow, isn't it? By listening to people that we don't necessarily agree with or would not want to go for a coffee with, but actually sometimes it's interesting, and listening to people from different cultures and you know, who have a completely different lifestyle to your own. I find that really inspiring. Which brings me on to YouTube. Personally, I like to see people. I'm quite a visual sort of learner, if you like, and a visual person, I suppose, with photography and so on. But I really enjoy listening to podcasts, but watching the people talking together as well. And then the other things on YouTube as well. You know, you can really go down a rabbit hole, can't you? And a friend of mine said the other day that YouTube was his guilty pleasure. You know, he liked to be scrolling through and finding new things on YouTube, and, you know, new ideas and history and things like that. So that's a good one for inspiration. And as long as we don't spend that whole time on our phones, then I think that's good for us. nature. Now, of course, nature. Who isn't inspired by the changing of the seasons? I was walking recently with my daughter and daughter-in-law and some grandchildren in a forest nearby. Oh my goodness, it was so beautiful because the wind was rustling in the trees and the leaves, the autumn leaves, were coming down like rain. And just watching the children dancing in the leaves, children inspire me every day. My 2-year-old granddaughter, the way she sees the world, the joy she takes in things. Spend some time with children or with animals. Animals are a good source of inspiration, aren't they? They're simple pleasures. It doesn't take a lot to please a dog, does it? And we should all be a little bit more dog, I think, or a bit more cat if you're a cat person, a bit more gerbil if you're a gerbil person, maybe. I don't know how you'd be more gerbil, but I'm going to leave that in anyway. Walking in nature, I love to walk in the woods. I love to walk by the beach. The sound of the waves coming in across the shingle and going out again. And if I feel really down, if I can get to a beach and I can sit on the beach and just watch the sea come in and out and in and out, and it reminds me that it doesn't matter what's happening now, what's happening to me as an individual or in the world today, that ocean has been doing that action in that place for centuries and will hopefully do so in the future, long after we're gone. And I find that really inspiring, to remind myself of how small I am and how insignificant I am in the vast scheme of things. Inspires me to want to create, to want to leave just a small imprint, at least with my family, that they can remember me by, because we're part of this whole, and feeling part of a whole is also very inspiring and very nurturing. Books. I couldn't be without my books. I've been a reader all my life. I remember when I was really quite tiny and my who became my stepmother was visiting, and I remember crawling over the News of the World. If you're British, you'll know what the News of the World used to be. It's what we could now call a red top newspaper, but actually then it was a broadsheet. So this is how long ago it was. And I remember crawling over it because I knew that those little squiggly print, I knew it said something, I knew it meant something. And I was so desperate to divine, what it was. So there I was being inspired at 2 or even younger if I was crawling about by these words on a newspaper, newsprint. And I distinctly remember my stepmom saying, "Oh, I hope she's not going to be a blue stocking." Now, if you don't know, a blue stocking is what they used to call female students. So when they went to Cambridge and Oxbridge, they used to wear blue stockings. So an intellectual woman was colloquially referred to as a blue stocking. And that's exactly what I am. I am a proud blue stocking and always will be. And maybe that started crawling around on that very unintellectual broadsheet. I have bookshelves at home, and I did come to a deal with my husband that when I buy a new book, another one will go because the bookshelves are heaving. But I did buy another one the other day. Don't tell him. Books, just to me, it's not the book itself, is it? It's what it contains, whether it's entertainment or education or information. There's just so much inspiration within the covers of a book. I think that we all need to slow down to receive inspiration. I think that if we're constantly rushing from thing to thing, or if we're stuck in a routine where we do the same things every day and we don't ever push outside our comfort zone, or we don't see new people or be open to new ideas or just generally take part in the world, I think we can very easily lose our inspiration. It's not just about getting older and feeling as if we've done it all now. There's always so much more to do. So finally, to come to my final inspiration, is music, which is not unusual, of course. I don't have a very good ear. I'm not I don't learn, you know, this is why I struggle to listen to podcasts. I'd rather watch them because I get distracted if I haven't got a visual in front of me as well. Music can obviously transport you to other places. I've seen it with my kids and, you know, with my husband and so many other people. I like to discover new music. I love the blues. I love the old-fashioned country music, what we used to call country and western. My dad brought me up on Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and so on. And I go to those. They're my go-to. If I need soothing, those beats will actually soothe me because it reminds me of someone who I love so much and feeling safe and secure with that person. And also, I think there's something to do with the beats, isn't there, that actually affects you physically. But I love to find new music. And I'm going to just give you a link to a musician who is a young British rapper, singer, songwriter. And as I mentioned him before, and a lady wrote, well, I never thought I'd be inspired by a foul-mouthed rapper in my 60s. Because I'd said, look, you know, obviously there's some bad language in it, but if you don't like that and you can just kind of close your ears off to that. He has so much to say. He has such a unique point of view on the world, on globalization and on, you know, the politics of the world. He's a young man who's been ill since he was about 17. He had Lyme disease and went through a period of psychosis as well and depression, and is still undergoing treatment for all kinds of autoimmune conditions. But he writes the most beautiful music. He writes the most angry music. Sometimes it's very, very different. I can actually follow the rap. I can actually hear what he's saying. Sometimes with rap, I can't understand what they're saying. And also, sometimes I don't want to because it is so violent and misogynistic and foul-mouthed. This isn't foul-mouthed for the sake of it, I don't feel. And I went through a phase recently where I just watched all his videos back to back, and I couldn't get enough of this young man. His name is Ren, R-E-N, and I'd recommend that if you can cope with what I've just described. I don't want to send somebody, give them a coronary. But a disclaimer on here, you know, this is your on your head. But to be honest, it doesn't have to be him, does it? Just be open to new music coming out. Don't do that thing, oh, they don't make music like they used to. No, they don't. But that doesn't mean it's no good, you know, and you might find something that really, really inspires you. So those are my quick rundown. Well, I don't know how quick this has been. I think it's been longer than I intended to be. But that's my rundown of things that inspire me and fill me up and make me happy. I'd love to know what you feel, and I'm always open to new music suggestions, new book suggestions, new authors, new exhibitions. Hit me up in the comments because I would love that, and let's share a little bit of inspiration together. That's all for me for now. See you again soon. Bye.